Welcome into Mavericks Today by Chat Sports. I'm Jeffrey Kuberstein, and on today's show, if the Mavericks are going to win the 2025 NBA title, these are the ingredients that are going to make it happen. I'm going to tell you what they need in order to get over the hump and beat those fraudulent Boston Celtics. But before we get in today's show, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up icon for me if you think the Mavs can win it all in 2025. They came so close last year, came up just short, winning the West, losing to the Celtics in 5. Can they win those extra 3 games and hoist the Larry O.B.? I'm going to let you know exactly how they can do it, but help me get to 500 likes on today's show. And without further ado, let's hop right in. Look, we know the Mavs had a great season last year, making it to the finals for the 3rd time in franchise history. But now the goals sort of change. When you make it to the finals with a guy like Luka and Kyrie leading the charge, your calculus changes to where now you were just happy to be there. Now you want to get there and you want to win it. And that's the only thing that would satisfy the needs of this Mavericks fan base this year, is winning an NBA title. And this is exactly how they're going to do it. Starting with number 5, Jason Kidd evolving. Heading into his 4th year as Dallas Mavericks head coach, I really think Jason Kidd has turned himself into a very good NBA coach. There were obvious questions surrounding Kidd when he was hired from the Mavs. He had questionable stints with the Brooklyn Nets, with the Milwaukee Bucks, where there were countless stories of players not really liking him and him kind of doing just weird things to kind of disrupt team chemistry. There's the Thon Maker story about the iPhone, which I think is kind of funny because if you don't have an iPhone, what are you doing here? But Kidd being a coach that players like, players can relate to, and they really resonate with because he has such a high basketball IQ and has such a knowledge of the game. I think Luka really respects that, and he's a guy that he listens to because Luka, frankly, doesn't get along with very many coaches considering his basketball IQ is so high, and he just thinks he's smarter than them. Well, he sees Jason Kidd on that same level because he's played the point guard position, and Kidd really can kind of know what Luka's going through as well as a floor general of a very good team. So that relationship is really there. And I think Kidd overall has evolved his team philosophy into defense first because he knows the Mavs are going to be a good offensive team with the likes of Luka, Kyrie, adding Klay Thompson. You have the lob threat with Dereck Lively and Daniel Gafford. He knows that they're going to score, and he doesn't have to worry about that end of the floor. All Jason Kidd wants from his players is for them to play hard and play defense. If you're going to do those 2 things, you will find your way on the floor, whether or not you can score the basketball. And I think that his philosophy over time has really evolved, and it resulted in a contract extension this offseason. Him and Nico Harrison both got one, and they were well-deserved. So Kidd going into year 4 as an playoff experience, as an experience with coaching Luka, experience with multiple egos in a locker room, I think he's a reason the Mavs can win the title. Let me know what you guys think, though. Is Jason Kidd a top 10 NBA coach right now? This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So when you get hit with a YouTube ad break, go on down there and get your votes in. Type Y for yes or type N for no. I think Jason Kidd is a top 10 NBA coach in the league. He's probably between the 8 and 12 range. I'm not going to say he's among the elite like Eric Spoelstra, like a Steve Kerr, or name your elite head coach, Mike Malone, whatever. I don't think he's in that category, but I do think he's in the category just below. Look, man, I know people have their qualms with him and people don't like certain things that he does. I'm one of them. I have things that I wish he would do a little bit better. But at the end of the day, when you're managing a team like this who made it to the finals, you made it to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. That's 2 Western Conference Finals trips in 3 years. Can't ask for much more. It results in a contract extension. And Kidd's going to be here for the foreseeable future. I would say he probably has a top 5 secure job in the NBA right now. I don't think the Mavs are going to do anything as far as like firing Jason Kidd or anything like that anywhere in the remote future. Number 4, an aligned front office is very important. Starting at the top with Nico Harrison, his 2 assistant GMs in Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi, those guys are on the same page with how they want this team to look. The Mavs also just hired Mokhtar Ndiaye from the Knicks. He's going to be director of pro personnel and international scouting. And when you have an aligned front office, along with your head coach in Jason Kidd, along with your owner in Patrick Dumont, it's really a thing of beauty because when those things aren't together, you're not able to run a functional organization. Just ask the Detroit Pistons. Just ask the Charlotte Hornets. When your front office and the top of your organization is not on the same page, it simply isn't going to work. Jason Kidd and Nico Harrison, they came in together. They were guys that came Jason Kidd knew about the Mavericks organization, obviously, from his playing days, but he came from outside the organization in his coaching tree. Nico Harrison coming in from Nike. They didn't know what the Mavs culture really was in the front office before they got here with Donnie Nelson and with Mark Cuban. And they came in here pretty much completely overturned and changed that culture into one of the most well-respected front offices in the NBA. And alignment, like I said, is a beautiful thing, and it's something that you need if you're going to win an NBA title. I'll get to my top 3 reasons why the Mavs are going to win the NBA title in just a few moments, but I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our friends at PrizePicks. We absolutely love PrizePicks here on Mavericks Today, which is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks, which means you can turn 10 into $1,000. That is, if you know ball. Here are some of my picks. We've showed you these before. These are our season-long NBA stat projections. I have Luka Doncic taking the more on 31.9 points this season. Averaged 33.9 last year, led the NBA in scoring. I think it's pretty easy that he gets more than 31.9. Steph Curry, coming off the gold medal performance that he put on for Team USA, I'm going to take the more on 27.6 points per game. And Victor Wembanyama, give me the more on 24. I think he's going to take a big leap this year and truly become one of the NBA's elite players. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, run your game. I think great role players are a key to any championship team. The Mavericks really struggled with their role players up until the 2024 NBA trade deadline. That's when they went in and they acquired PJ Washington and acquired Daniel Gafford. And all of a sudden, the Mavs had one of the best and deepest bench and role player unit in the NBA. It's obviously led by Dereck Lively, who I think is going to be an all-star in this league. But on the Mavericks, he performs his role to perfection. He's the lob threat on offense that they need. He can rebound the ball. He's able to block shots and change the calculus on the defensive end as well. Dereck Lively, Daniel Gafford, PJ Washington. You could even call Klay Thompson a role player if you want. He's like the best role player in the NBA where he's going to be sitting in the corner catching open passes from Luka and Kyrie. I expect Klay to shoot over 40% from 3 this year, just given the amount of open looks he's going to get. And headlined by Luka and by Kyrie. This team doesn't really need their role players to do a whole lot, considering they have those 2 guys running the ship at the helm of the offense. And when you stagger those minutes, you can have at least one of those guys on the court for 45 of 48 minutes. It's going to be something special, and this team is going to win a lot of games. Who is your favorite role player on the Mavericks, though? I'm going to go with Dereck Lively, the second-year man out of Duke. I absolutely love D-Live, man. But let me know, do you like P.J. Washington? Do you like Jaden Hardy? Do you like A.J. Lawson? I know he's still on the team right now. If you like A.J. Lawson, we need to talk because you're a hardcore Mavs fan. But let me know what you think. Shout out your favorite role player on the Dallas Mavericks. I think a hungry Luka Doncic is going to be key as well. They come up short, losing the finals in 5 games to the Celtics. That was the worst series of Luka's playoff career by far. I don't think it was even close. We know he was dealing with injuries and whatnot. He got into his own head about the officials. I think a hungry Luka is going to come in this year. He's going to come in motivated. Slovenia didn't make the Olympics, so he's gotten pretty much a full offseason of rest. And he's going to want to prove the doubters and the haters wrong of people who are saying he doesn't play defense at all, he's lazy, this and that. People just watch the NBA Finals and love to overreact. And of course, it was the last thing that everyone saw in the NBA calendar last year. So that's what they're going to talk about for months until the season begins. I really think he's going to have a great year, and he's definitely squarely in the MVP conversation. He finished 3rd last year. Should have finished at worst 2nd. He got a little disrespected. I think he's going to win the MVP this year, honestly. I said it last year. I'll say it again. I think he's the best player in the NBA, and I think he's going to show it this year in the 2024-25 season for the Mavericks. We have one more reason to get to, but if you want informative, free, and entertaining Mavs coverage all year long, please be sure to hit that subscribe button today. Myself and Harrison Graham are bringing you real Mavs content from real Mavs fans on the daily. We'll be doing watch parties all throughout the season as well. Can't wait for those. So hit that sub button and lock us in today. The number one reason why the Mavs are going to win the 2025 NBA title? Championship experience. You brought in Klay Thompson, who has won 4 NBA titles with the Golden State Warriors. You brought in Kyrie Irving, who has won a championship. He's obviously coming into his second year, a second full season with the Mavs. You have Jason Kidd, who's won a championship as a player. The Mavs now have bona fide championship and playoff experience to help them get there. This team should win the Western Conference, and the West is going to be a gauntlet. There's no question about that. But when you have those two guys right there, it's still wild seeing Klay Thompson in a Mavericks uniform. I don't know if he should be rocking that 31. I think Jason Terry probably should have gotten that retired. But when you have those two guys, you have 3 future Hall of Famers on your team. Chances are you have a really good shot at winning the title, man. I think this team's really going to be special. We've already seen that they're bonding. They're out in LA right now working out as a pre-training camp type of vibe where Kyrie isn't even practicing. He's just there getting to know his teammates. I think this is going to be a really special year for the Mavs, and having the championship and playoff experience that these guys have is going to help them along the way. If you made it to the end of today's video, again, please be sure to hit that thumbs up icon if you think the Mavs can win it all. And coming up later in the week, Harrison and I will be doing a mailbag, so stay out tuned for that. Get in the comments and ask any questions you might have about the Mavs, and we might answer it on the show. So please do that and hit that thumbs up icon. We'll see you soon here on Mavericks Today.